Hello everyone, this is Ian Schaefer here with UDA Technologies, and we are just about ready to dive into another of our ConstructionSuite hosting videos that we're doing with their partnership in Amazon, the AWS hosting services that we provide. And we are just getting our last few attendees connected to the webinar itself. So if you guys don't mind, we're going to pause the webinar for just a couple of moments as we get everybody connected. Now in the meantime, I would appreciate it if you guys would take a look on the GoToWebinar panel. You should find an area on there marked questions, and what I'd like you to do is I'd like you guys to go ahead and take a moment to get to that question section and tell us about yourselves. What position you guys hold in your companies, what kind of software you guys have been using, and what brings you to the webinar today. Are you guys hoping to see something specific, or do you guys have questions about some of the cloud hosting options that we're going to have available, or programs like ConstructionSuite or QuickBooks? And again, we'll be getting started in probably about 2 minutes, so just let us know what you guys are looking for, and we'll speak with you again in just a couple. All right, everyone, thank you for your patience, and I think we are good to go ahead and get started. Once again, my name is Ian Schaefer. I'm one of the Senior Product Specialists here at UDA Technologies. I also happen to be a QuickBooks Pro Advisor and an AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner. And today we're going to kind of lean on some of these certifications and experiences and talk to you guys about why you need to consider moving your companies to the cloud. For today's webinar, I also have my colleague Jordan. He's one of our senior sales consultants, or top sales consultants, and he's actually going to be working with me in the webinar itself to create some content as we're going. I also have my colleague Holly, who's head of the sales department, and she's going to be manning any of the questions that you guys have. So make sure that you send in a lot of questions, because we want to make sure that she has plenty to talk about as well. Just myself and Jordan on the mic. She's going to be manning the keyboard today. And again, our focus is ConstructionSuite hosting and talking about how Amazon provides some of the best solutions available, or at least the best that we have found, in moving with cloud-hosted solutions for ConstructionSuite and QuickBooks. Now, brief note as well, it looks like we actually have a lot of you guys joining us for the webinar today, which is super exciting. I'm certainly glad to see that. It also looks like we have an interesting mix. There's some residential builders, looks like some commercial builders as well. I know that we have some ConstructionSuite advisors here too, and so again, hopefully as we're taking a look through this, all of you will have the opportunity to see and find some of the exciting new offers that we at UDA Technologies have been exploring for you guys, and hopefully we can get some of you guys moved on into the cloud and moving forward with the technologies for your companies to make you guys a lot more efficient. Now, again, myself and Jordan will be here. Jordan, real quick before we dive into ConstructionSuite, and to kind of give us an idea of what we're looking at here, how do you think the cloud is going to benefit a lot of our current customers, or even new people coming in and taking a look at ConstructionSuite and QuickBooks? Why do people need to think about this cloud hosting option?
Well, I can move past thinking into what I've already seen with some clients that have jumped on board as early adopters. They have opened up access to all of their critical data, both in ConstructionSuite and QuickBooks. Maybe just to themselves, if it's one person. Maybe it's a one-man army going out to the job site. They need to get access to their projects, make sure that they have access to, sometimes it's just the address for the project, and they need to pull that up. Maybe they need to take a look at the full estimate and make sure that they're not forgetting to pick anything up on their way to the site. All the way to our larger teams who may be out in different field offices. Being able to access the same set of data without having to send data files back and forth. Being able to log into the same place and really access the same content at the same time has been huge. And I think that pretty much anybody that is looking at running a modern construction firm can benefit from moving their data to the cloud. Yeah. And AWS really is the premier solution. It really is amazing. The speed that you're going to see today is unlike any other cloud hosting option we've seen so far.
Yeah, and this is a big part of why we've actually decided to partner with AWS. Now I'm going to go ahead and start loading this up, and in the meantime, just to give you guys a little bit of history about the cloud hosting options, Of course, UDA Technologies, we've been in business now for almost 20 years. In that time, we've got probably a little over, at this point, 500,000 users using the systems. We're managing somewhere in the neighborhood of $65 to $70 billion in projects daily. And as we have kind of evolved as a company, as we've added in these new offers, new products, new features, new tools, new everything, we've always been looking for a way to provide better solutions for our construction clients, for you guys. And this path for cloud hosting started with us probably about 6 or 7 years ago, when we were looking at the potential for hosting early versions of ConstructionSuite and some of the different ways that we can make that information accessible. Of course, it looks like our server here is already loaded up, so I'll go ahead and open up ConstructionSuite. We've got QuickBooks down here. And again, 6 or 7 years ago, we took a look at some of the hosting options. We didn't really feel comfortable with the speed and reliability for everything that we were working on at the time. Obviously, speed has dramatically improved, as you can see here as we're working through it. We also, when we were first exploring some of these options, we wanted to make sure that your team would be able to access it from everywhere reliably, and that's one of the main things that actually drew us to Amazon. There's 3 major points that kind of drew us here. As we're looking through this today and navigating through some of these projects, you'll find that the speed at which this server is able to provide us information, this cloud-hosted server, is going to beat most of the computers that you guys are currently watching on today. It's certainly faster than my computer, and my colleague Jordan here is going to be creating some projects and some content as we're going. Jordan, why don't you tell us really quickly, too, what you've noticed about this Surface Pro that you're using right now, and compare that to the AWS server that you're creating the content on for us.
Sure. So some of our attendees might have either also joined us for the Surface Pro webinar that we had a couple of weeks ago. Myself and my colleague Corey were kind of showing off some of the mobile options here. At the time, ConstructionSuite was running natively on our Surface Pro, one of our Surface Pros here in the office. Had pretty good performance. Interestingly though, the way and the speed at which ConstructionSuite is moving right now, in fact, if you watch on Ian's screen, you might actually see some of my work popping in every once in a while. It's moving faster than if I was running ConstructionSuite natively, which is surprising, honestly, because that's coming over the internet right now.
Yeah, and that's one of the amazing things about this too. Again, the speed that we're seeing right now, this computer that I'm working on is hosted, about 1,200 miles away, I think, from the office that we're working in right now, and it functions insanely fast. Most of you guys are watching as well through the webinar itself, and as we're going through and loading up these files, you guys are probably noticing that most of the files are loading up. It might seem almost instantaneous in some cases. Sometimes you might notice a second or two, but you'll always recognize that it's going to be faster than your local computers or faster than you guys are accustomed to. This isn't a trick. This is actually all standard operation from the server, and this is what I would consider the new normal. Way faster than anything that we're working on. Now, I said that there were 3 points. Speed has been a big piece, a very, very large piece of this aspect. Another one that makes this application better and more reliable is the accessibility. Now, part of the partnership that we have with Amazon allows us to leverage some of the reliability and some of the trust that we have in the Amazon network. Amazon is unique in that they have, I think it's 18 regions, which this is basically like 18 server farms or 18 places across the globe where they have major hubs for hosting data. By itself, the tech talk doesn't really mean too much to some of us. But what you'll find that means is that with 18 different major regions and something like 60 different availability zones, it means that we have complete global coverage and plenty of redundant backup systems in place. This also means that if you guys go on vacation, it doesn't matter where in the world you go, except for maybe Antarctica, you're still going to have access to everything, and it's going to be the same insane speed. In fact, Amazon advertises what they refer to as 11 nines of availability. That means that they have a 99.9999999% uptime, which means that it's always there. It's there more often than you guys will be, I hope. But sometimes you guys will take a break. They never do. They will always make sure that their products are available for you, and we make sure that we leverage that advantage for you as well. We also offer complete maintenance for anything that's going to be available on the cloud as well. So when you're looking at the cloud-hosted server, let me minimize some of these guys, you'll notice that right now I have ConstructionSuite and QuickBooks hosted on this cloud-hosted server. This is different than my local computer, where I may also have a couple of additional programs that I'm working with. But on the cloud-hosted server, these are the two major applications that help me run my business, and they're always available in the cloud. I share this information with colleagues like Jordan and Holly so that we can all work together to make sure that this information is there. So we've got insane speeds available through this. Again, as you're opening up these different programs, we can see some of the work that Jordan's putting in for us here. We'll be able to go into and open up these estimates. They load insanely quickly. We'll be able to push them over into QuickBooks as well. I think this is a brand new QuickBooks company file, so this will actually create a new items list for us if we do push it over into QuickBooks. Let's go ahead and start that. Initial setup first. Ooh, big important part here. If you guys haven't gone through the initial setup in QuickBooks, definitely let us know if you guys have any questions about it. I have some of my own opinions. I'm going to be going through and choosing what I consider to be the standard selection set for the initial integration. But as you guys are going through and configuring these things, we can marry this to whatever your accountants prefer. Now, the reason that's so important is because your accountant or your CPA or your bookkeeper, they won't always be in the office with you. With AWS Cloud or with the Amazon hosting that we're going to be doing here, they can always get into your QuickBooks company file. So if they ever need to recap or work with you on anything that you guys are doing, it's perfect. It's always going to be available to them. You can create a login for them. QuickBooks is going to be hosted, and that's not going to cost you guys anything extra either. That's part of the package that we offer, part of the service that we provide. And all of this information is going to be available to you, to them, and it makes it a lot easier to work together. Again, reliability, availability, speed. They don't have to drive to your office and charge you the extra 30 minutes that it takes them to get there and then 30 minutes to get back. They just log in, pull whatever reports they need to pull, get the information out, and provide it just like this. Now again, this is all based on what you and your accountants work together to provide. Again, with ConstructionSuite and QuickBooks both hosted on the cloud, it means that you can go in and do things like this without having to go back to the main office. You could pull a P&L report from the bar if you wanted, or from the coffee shop, or wherever you happen to be. If you guys were watching the NCAA men's basketball final the other day and you just needed to check in, you could pull it up on your phone and be able to go in there and access this information as well. Always available, always online. And the third major piece to this too is, because of our partnership with Amazon, we're able to leverage their what they refer to as economies of scale to provide this service, this best-in-class offer with cloud hosting for ConstructionSuite and QuickBooks at a price that beats most of the cloud hosting services that you guys have available. I noticed in here that some of you guys are hosting with companies like, I see mentioned Cloud9 and Right Networks. These guys offer incredible services, or at least they used to seem incredible. Now with this hosting option, we're going to blow them out of the water. One of the biggest advantages that we have in this, both UDA and these other hosting companies, we all provide technology solutions for you. Both UDA and some of these other hosting solutions also provide specialists like QuickBooks Pro Advisor. Myself and my team, we've got several people on here as well. We provide that expertise, and we leverage this expertise to benefit you and your teams without necessarily forcing you to go out and find other pro advisors in your area. Another part that we're going to leverage, and this is what truly makes us unique, is we've got, at this point, well over 20 years experience working with construction companies or in the construction industry directly. None of the rest of our competitors in the cloud hosting realm have anything even remotely close. Most of them don't understand what a change order is or why this is painful. They don't understand why it's so important to get job costing out of the accounting system. They may just need to help provide a little bit of solutions. And with all of the expertise and the experience that we offer, and through the partnerships that we've had with companies like Remodeler's Advantage, NAHB, NARI, the commercial company ABC, we've got these organizations and partnerships with them that allow us to leverage even more expertise and experience on top of the tens of thousands of companies already using these systems that we work with on an everyday basis, and the, again, almost $70 billion in project management that we see every day. It's a huge advantage that we turn over to you as well. And again, as we're working through all of these different options, all of these different availabilities, these different tools, you'll find that it's all available in the cloud, and it's all available all the time. And if you guys have questions about it, you can always reach out to us as well. We can help you guys get started with this today. Now, just to give you an idea too, we'll kind of backstep just a moment. This cloud hosting solution that we're providing today, this has actually been available since about the beginning of the year so far. And in that time, as Jordan mentioned earlier, we have a lot of early adopters already working in the system itself. And in this time, we just recently did some updates for ConstructionSuite across all these different servers. And we gauged a rough idea on about how much we've pulled into these projects. So Jordan, just give us a quick idea. In the last 3 months or thereabouts, for the early adopting team, how much would you estimate in projects? Like, how much would you guess we've got currently managed through AWS in this ConstructionSuite cloud environment?
I don't think it would be a stretch to put the number somewhere in the $100 million range. And that is, not being nosy or prying or anything, just the process of updating ConstructionSuite, landing into the Today screen when the program loads up, getting ready to set those updates going. The ease of access to that sort of broad overview of the health of your company is pretty fantastic. And like I said, not trying to be nosy. I think we just kind of came across it a little bit. But man, there's some people out there doing very great things, really making business deals happen and really pushing forward with new technology as if it was nothing. And, honestly, the setups that I've helped with, the setups that we've done together with our team have been pretty dang seamless. Yeah,
and again, it's always a shock to me too whenever we're going through and working with these things, and we hear these quotes all the time. The speed, the accessibility, and the uniqueness of this online cloud hosting solution is really what makes this a differentiator, not just for us, but it's going to be a differentiator when you guys start using this cloud hosted solution as well. Again, most of these tools that we offer are available no matter where you are. So when you go to a client's location and you open up your estimate and you go through and you put together some numbers, if you wanted to provide this for your customer, you can put it together in the truck. You just go out there, you hook up your hotspot. Right now, my internet speed in the office, I see this question has come up a couple of times. My internet speed here is probably about 100 megs up. At home, it functions about the same, and that's about, depending on how good my internet service is at the time, it's going to be anywhere between, it feels like 5 and 60. But ultimately, it always, ConstructionSuite in the cloud always operates at about the same speed. And it's really mind-boggling.
Yeah, I think one of the advantages there, Ian, is we're leveraging Amazon's cutting-edge hardware and technology and delivery services. Even if you were, say, running off of a mobile hotspot, a lot of the bulk of the processing is being done on hardware that is light years ahead of any other technology that you could really probably get your hands on at this point.
This is absolutely true, and as we go through and generate this proposal, you'll start to get an idea for it as well. Unlike some of the what I would call, I guess, traditional or old school methods for cloud hosting solutions, this doesn't actually do any of the calculations on your local machine. All of it is handled by the servers on Amazon. So as we go through and include all of the detail and everything like that for the proposal, it's all happening natively on the cloud-hosted server. So as we pull up the proposal, it's going to give us all of this content right here. Again, probably 10 times faster than you're accustomed to generating proposals on your local computer. At least for me, I think with the relatively new computer that I have, it's still about 4 or 5 times faster on average. And as you go through and you work with these things, again, keep in mind, you can be doing this from a hotspot in your truck. So as you guys go through and you put all this information together, you can knock out a quick proposal like this. You could export it as a PDF. If you've got a printer with you in the truck, you could print it out as well. Don't forget though, as you're going through it, you probably want to do a few small touch-ups or adjustments to it here. But then as you go through and you put this information together, it's all available for you online. As you are working with these things online too, keep in mind that if you guys have something like my colleague here, Jordan, is working on a Surface Pro, this means that it's got a touch screen. So if you're doing proposals and you want to get an acceptance of agreement, you can always use the option to sign right there with your customer as well. So when you get them to sign, you can have them just go through and scribble their John Hancock there on the form. It gets included in your document as well, and then you can just scale it down to work perfectly with whatever contracts you guys have that you're working with. So again, it means that you can get signatures on site for any of the documents or reports that you guys are working with here as well. Again, if you're working with a Surface, it's got a pen there with it too, so like a little stylus, so it makes it insanely easy to do these kind of things. Or if you guys are working with something like an iPad, or again, if you guys wanted to use the touchscreen options on the phone, this would work. We've only had a handful of clients actually adopt that on the phone. For me, I don't think it would ever work because I have fat fingers and it's kind of tough to go through and work on the phone itself, but hey, depending on these devices that you guys have, it's in the very least, it's fast. I can get into the files fast, even if I can't sign on them very well. But again, as you guys are working through, you can see all of this information is available super quick. Let's revise this one, and then we'll go in and take a look at maybe some of the calendar options in one of the schedules that my colleague here, Jordan, just put together. I don't know. Now, that said, Jordan, which project are you working on right now? Which one can we go in and have a look at?
Well, I was in 187 if you wanted to take a peek in there. I was actually playing around with the schedule a bit. I just hopped out, so you can go ahead and check in. That's one of the great things is that you'll always be able to access the latest version. You'll actually be able to tell if someone else is in that file and making their changes. It'll let you know, hey, someone else is working in this, but I kind of had a feeling we were going this direction, so I saved up and I was going to play around with some of the durations. I haven't actually changed the start date yet. I noticed that's what you're working on now, but
Sure.
Yeah, let's kind of show off a bit of the resource here. I mean, you can't beat that.
Yeah, I was going to say the quickness and the responsiveness is always going to be huge as you're working on the cloud-hosted solutions. Again, this is another of the major benefits to working with Amazon. As we go through and operate on this Amazon cloud-hosted server, this partner of ours, I say that as if you guys haven't heard of Amazon. We've all worked with Amazon before. We all know who they are. And in this case, the service that they provide is second to none. And so we're taking advantage of this and making these services available to you guys here as well. So if you are working on your schedules and you need to make this information available, that's great. You can go through and you can set your predecessor relationships and you can mark everything as it needs to be. You can make whatever adjustments and delays and tweaks. You can push all of this information around exactly as you need to, exactly as you normally would. Everything updates, and then as you save, it's all going to be available for everybody else that you're working with. Now again, schedules are also kind of unique in that the schedules in ConstructionSuite, the Gantt chart scheduling software, has a lot of collaborative tools, even for a desktop solution, or in this case now a cloud top solution, I guess. Some of the collaborative tools include things like resources or insurance tracking. So as I'm going through and I'm putting together the resources here in ConstructionSuite, I might be assigning somebody that Jordan is claiming at the same time for another job. In this case, because we're working on this information together simultaneously in the cloud, we'd be able to see when the other person is booking that particular resource. And again, all of this information is available online. If we shift it over to having Holly put in some of our insurance information, we'll also be able to put in some comments or to-dos or something like that. Wilson Drywall here, for example, needs a new insurance certificate. So I may send the message over to Holly to input the new insurance certificate. She could put that in for me and we'd be good to go. Now this will also lead into some of the new features available through ConstructionSuite. Some of the upcoming features that we have available coming soon include a new chat function. You'll find the new chat available through the quick chat in the ConstructionOnline mobile apps already. As you start to take a look at the new ConstructionOnline interfaces, as we start to release those, even in the closed beta here in the near future, and then for everybody publicly, probably leading into summer, the chat functions available in ConstructionOnline are also going to tie into ConstructionSuite, so that while you're working here on the cloud, you'll also be able to communicate with your team who happens to be out on the field, have them take some pictures of the jobs, and then of course in ConstructionSuite you can come back and start reviewing some of those files, or go to your online section, which I don't have turned on right now, but you can go to ConstructionOnline and see some of the activity that they're doing right here as well. Now, again, ConstructionSuite that we're working on right now, it is going to be cloud accessible. You will be able to get to it from anywhere. And if you need to turn on something like ConstructionOnline and take advantage of the SuiteLink feature, which is going to be part of that Total Care package that most of you guys have available too, this is cloud hosted, which means it's always connected to the internet, which means that if you guys turn on those auto sync options here under SuiteLink options like project and contact management and to-dos and activity syncs, all of this will be constantly up to date. You're going to notice that this is going to be going through and it's going to be sharing the information. And I know some of you have pretty strict servers, like server permissions and firewalls and things like that, that may have prevented you from using these features in the past. Again, this is where we step in to help. With the new ConstructionSuite hosting services and some of the Amazon partnership that we have available, we'll be managing a lot of the server security, things like backups and updates for you. And what that means is we'll configure all of your SuiteLink settings to do whatever you need. So if you guys need SuiteLink to bypass the firewall on the server, it'll do that automatically. We already know how to make this happen, and we'll provide that as another solution for you. If the time comes to do another update for ConstructionSuite or an upgrade, we'll take care of those too. This is part of the beauty of it. We know when those are released the second they're released, so we can go ahead and take care of them that afternoon as well. So again, as you go through and you work with some of these great new features, any of the old hurdles that you guys may have run into hosting on your own servers or in your local office or on your local hardware, you know, I've had situations in the past 8 years working for UDA Technologies where clients have called in with really bad Ethernet cables that they're trying to connect to their router, and all of that kind of connectivity issues go away. Granted, you still do have to get connected to the internet, but we will manage all the documentation, we'll manage all the connections, we'll even manage your backups. We have that all built in, and with the new cloud hosting services and solutions, we provide all of those, I guess, just as part of that package. It's all going to be included. Now, of course, if you guys do have any questions about how this hosting is going to work, as you guys hopefully have a chance to send in those questions now, I'm going to go through and start creating another project here and send it over to QuickBooks. But in the meantime, guys, this is going to be one of the last steps that we go through today. So if you do have any questions, or if you guys are interested in maybe hearing a little bit more about these, go ahead and chime in at this point. Give us a little bit of detail about any other questions that you guys might have. I'm sure Holly would be interested to see the questions coming through. I've also got my colleague Jordan ready and available to answer any of those too. Or if you guys would just like a follow-up consultation, please don't forget to give us a call or send us a message right now. We can go ahead and provide some of that additional detail in a one-on-one consultation. Just let us know, and we'll go from there. Now again, as I'm going through these projects, I already see a couple of questions coming in. We have a couple of questions about different devices. What kind of devices will this work on? AWS Connect, the specific tool that I have used today that we built and provide, works on any Windows device. But because of the nature of this cloud-hosted server, you can actually get to it from any internet-connected device. Any smart device that you want to use will be able to access this. At most, you may just have to download a special app to get to it. For example, if you were using, I think, Jordan, you had a client who was using an iPhone, was it?
Right.
They downloaded an app from there? Why don't you tell them about that experience, too? Because, again, I didn't see that one. I don't typically go to my phone for connecting to a computer, a full-blown server, but why don't you tell them really quickly about how that performed? as you guys were looking at?
Yeah, that was an interesting situation. One of our oncoming clients had just started and was getting set up with their server. They called in and asked me, hey, so I've got this Windows Remote Desktop client app on my iPhone, and I'm trying to get connected into the server. I immediately said, on your iPhone? and he said, yeah, on my iPhone. So I said, wow, that's really interesting. I don't know, let me go and consult our team. They pointed me to Ian. Ian looked at me and said, oh, well, that's interesting. Well, here's the way that they would connect, I think. It was the same connection information that we would see, say, for people using Mac OS devices. I brought it back. Next thing you know, he said, oh, that's really awesome. Okay, I'm in. And then hung up. So I think that he was good to go. Then we ended up trying it out ourselves and found, wow, this actually does work surprisingly well. Even on a phone's mobile connection. Like, we were just sitting here signing change order documents like nobody's business.
Yeah. And along those lines too, we have had, again, we've got a lot of early adopters. We've got a lot of people who have already made the shift from the old dusty desktop computers that they've got in the office to a cloud-hosted solution or a cloud-hosted system like this. So one of the, I say like this, they've moved up to the Amazon hosting services that we provide. We have gotten them all started on this quickly. The turnaround time for one of these, once we get all the information for you guys, is usually 1 to 2 business days, so 24 to 48 hours perhaps. But again, depending on the situation, you guys might have some special programs that you guys would like us to provide, or can't think of anything too crazy. Maybe you've got to get a backup from your old hosting service before you make this stuff available. So again, we may end up waiting on them just a little, but generally you guys won't need to wait on us. If you guys do have questions about what kind of programs are going to be available, again, just send us a message, send us a question, send us your details, your phone number, your email, and we'll make sure to reach out to you guys as soon as we wrap up today. It looks like we actually have a couple of specific people asking for Jordan. The bright side is, I think he was planning on reaching out to some of you guys immediately after this anyway. So this is the fun part about setting up these webinars. We get to talk to everybody directly all at once. All right, where were we? We're working on the projects though. So again, send in those questions. Holly's going to be taking care of you guys in just a couple of moments, I'm sure. But we have an estimate. Let's save the estimate into the job, and then we will turn it into a schedule. Okay, estimate saved. Let's make a schedule. Don't need subcategories. Yeah, that looks good. I'm sure we could go through and modify dates and times and everything like that, but this should be pretty quick. Again, as you're working through the schedule itself and mapping out how everything needs to relate or interact, again, it's all going to be available here at all times. Let's slot costs. Next up would be financing, which I prefer to have done first, but hey. Let's get these guys out here someplace. Ooh, some of the new features, by the way, available in ConstructionSuite. For those of you guys who haven't used them yet, in programs like scheduling, if you are assigning multiple resources, rather than opening up each individual task and making the assignment, you can actually now go through and multi-select some of these. Let me actually make sure that I do it correctly, using control clicks or shift clicks, and then as you go through and select your resources, just pick everybody that you're going to work on, and assign resources to groups of highlighted areas, and it actually makes the assignment to each one. We've done things like this to make it a little bit friendlier to use things like AWS or the cloud-hosted connections, to use the Surface, stuff like that. But again, if you guys are going through and you're looking to assign the same resource to an entire group or several items at once, make sure that you guys go through and add in your resources just like this. Makes it 1,000 times faster. No certificate still. We'll need Holly to work on that for us in a moment. And we are on lot 117. Of course, as you're working through these, don't forget to save your files. You can, of course, set up autosave on pretty much everything as well. So work through and set up your autosaves if you guys like. All of this is going to be saved to the cloud-hosted server, which is automatically backed up every night. We have them configured to do that just in case anything comes up. we can slot out one and plug in another one just instantly if you need it. Primary schedule. If we needed to generate some reports, a new proposal, I already had one of those earlier, but we can go ahead and push through another one. Standard settings for this one, we need a customer. Shannon. Shannon will be my customer this time. Now, one of the things that I love about this too is, as we're going through, I'm the administrator for ConstructionSuite. The administrator is able to go through and set a lot of these initial decisions, and the system will remember them. So if I go through and I decide how I want my proposal to look, Jordan only has to follow through and click finish once he gets to this screen. Or in our case, let's turn on the notes and then click finish. And he'll be able to repeat this successful proposal generation every time. From there, of course, you can send them out via email, you can send them out, you can print it if you wanted to. We do have them set up to redirect to the local printers. I think Jordan was mentioning something about that using, I would say sign language, but I think he typed it up and pointed at the screen. But again, all of this information is going to be available, and as you guys can see, it's quick and responsive as well. So as you guys are working through, again, let us know. For now, though, looks like we have finished most of the questions. Looks like some of you guys have just asked for us to reach out to you guys. There's one or two more in here. Can you create purchase orders from the road and have it sync directly with QuickBooks? This is an interesting one because if you guys are on the road, you can create your purchase orders directly in QuickBooks from ConstructionSuite. And it doesn't even have to sync. You just pull it up and send it directly. Where did we go? As an example, we go back over to the QuickBooks Integration tab, create a purchase order. And if we needed to filter it down to a specific section, you can do that. Pick a specific resource as well if you need to, and then just push it over directly. Again, this isn't something that has to sync any longer because it's all going to be able to connect directly. And in this case, the follow-up question, are we using QuickBooks Desktop or Online? I love a lot of the new features and a lot of new tools and everything like that, but in this case, I'm still a little old school in that I like to use QuickBooks Desktop. And in this case, that's what we're working with here. For ConstructionOnline, if you guys did want to connect to QuickBooks Online, if you haven't had a chance to take a look at some of those new features that we have available on the new ConstructionOnline, by all means, give us a call. We can give you a brief tour for some of the new QBO integration options, which include all of the same features and functions. So if you guys are looking to take advantage or leverage some of the strength of the ConstructionSuite integration with QuickBooks Desktop, but you like everything to be completely web-based, give us a call. We can talk to you guys about ConstructionOnline and QBO as well. For now, I think that's going to wrap up most of the questions that we have, and I think it's about as much time as we have for you guys today as well. If you guys do have any follow-up questions, don't forget to drop us a line really quickly and talk to us about in the meeting itself. Go ahead and let us know if you guys are interested in having the one-on-one consultation. We'll reach back out to you guys real soon. For everybody else, though, hopefully we've gotten a chance to show off and kind of give you an idea on why it's so important to consider moving to the cloud. If you guys are looking to do so, by all means, give us a call, let us know. We're going to be the right answer for you guys there. We have all the tools and the resources that you'll need in order to succeed. So give us a call anytime, and we hope to talk to you guys again soon. Otherwise, I suppose it's time to get back out there and get back to work. So at this point, guys, thanks again for your time this afternoon. It was a pleasure having you. And don't forget to join us next Thursday as we dive into some of the additional hosting options with QuickBooks. And we'll talk to you guys then. Until then, have a great night and a great weekend. Take care, everyone.